While we want you to enjoy and learn from your work placement, you need to be aware that every occupation has hazards specific to the industry or to the individual workplace. While some jobs, such as working in construction and engineering, have more obvious hazards associated with heavy machinery, others have hidden dangers that can also present real risks to people. This is true even for those who work in a shop or an office. Risks can arise from many of the tasks required at work. For example, using a ladder in the workplace creates the risk of falling if the ladder isn't right for the job or if it's not used in a safe manner. It's important to be aware of potential hazards before undertaking any task. In addition, employers have a duty of care to control hazards. While some hazards are specific to an industry or work location, there are others that are found among different industries and so might be considered common hazards. These include manual handling, machinery and equipment, chemicals, working at height, and UV radiation from the sun. Before you start your placement, your supervisor must make sure you are trained and briefed on what you are and aren't allowed to do, because your safety is the most important thing. Incidents involving manual handling cause more than half of all workplace injuries. Manual handling is not just lifting and carrying heavy objects. It also includes tasks like having to push, pull, hold, support, or restrain something. The risks are increased if the object in question is of awkward shape or unexpected weight. Repetitive tasks and those carried out in strained or awkward positions can also cause injuries.
You want to put the least amount of strain on your back. You don't want to be turning and that sort of thing, so you really want to be using your knees. And look, if it's something that's really heavy, I'd always suggest get two people and then just remember, the way you move and you're not bending your back too much.
We've done a lot of training on manual handling. There are posters around on how to lift things correctly. If we see somebody lifting something the wrong way or repetitive movement, we stop it straight away and find a better way to do it.
Injuries resulting from the use of machinery and equipment are common in industries such as construction, manufacturing and farming. Work experience students must never use machinery, including powered tools or equipment, under any circumstances. Students on structured workplace learning are able to use some equipment on placement once appropriate training has been successfully completed. Risks from machinery can be controlled by isolating or guarding machines so people can't get close to moving parts where they could be cut, struck or trapped. Machine operators must be trained and machines maintained to ensure safe operation. Workplaces must have procedures to ensure that faults are reported immediately and machinery is deactivated or locked out until it has been repaired or replaced. It is important to follow machine operating procedures and to use all required safety gear such as hearing or eye protection. Your employer will provide you with the protective items you need to wear and will demonstrate how to use them correctly. There should be signs placed on or near machines to clearly state what safety items are required, so look out for them. The use of powered machinery by students is prohibited. If you are in an industry that uses machinery, both you and your employer must understand clearly what you can and can't do.
When coming into this company, you're inducted and you're shown how to use each machine, proper procedures, how to start them up, stop them, what sort of safety wear to use when operating them.
On the machinery, there's safety guards with safety switches, so if there's the guards not down, the machine won't turn on. And there's also emergency stop buttons.
And in case something goes wrong, in case a tool misloads, if there is a fire in the plant somewhere, you hit the red stop and it will just shut down the machine.
We make sure that all of our equipment is well maintained, our hoists, our jacks, all of our electrical gear.
It can pierce through your skin and cause injuries and even death, so it's very important to be careful.
Chemicals that can cause you and those around you harm are also found in every workplace. Even in offices, potentially harmful chemicals will be used for cleaning. One dangerous thing about chemicals is that you can't always see them. They can take the form of a solid, liquid or gas. They can be absorbed through the skin, swallowed or even breathed in without you knowing it. If you notice a spill whilst on placement, you should notify your supervisor immediately so that it can be cleaned. Don't try to clean it up yourself. Any chemical that can cause harm or injury should be clearly labelled. If chemicals are used in your workplace, ask your supervisor about the possible hazards.
The chemicals in this workshop, such as oils, paints, thinners, they're all kept out the back in the locked up containers.
A lot of the chemicals we use are very dangerous, so we have an MSDS.
The materials safety data sheet has information on all the types of chemicals that you use in a salon and what you should do if you come into contact with them.
It's kept with the chemicals when the chemicals come in, so if anyone needs to know what the rinse aid for the dishwasher's got in it, it'll have it written on there, safety procedures if you get it on you.
With a lot of chemicals, you leave them in the container they came in. You never put them in another bottle that's empty. You never refill something if it's not labelled.
Working at heights forms part of many jobs. Construction, roof work and tree surgery are just a few examples, although there are many more. In fact, working at heights is defined as any work where a fall of more than 2 metres could occur. Work experience students are not allowed to work at heights of more than 2 metres. Typical height-related incidents include things like collapsing scaffolding, falling from ladders, through roofs, into holes and down uncovered shafts.
Well, a lot of the major concerns on this side is falling from heights. It's probably one of our major hazards that we have here. Obviously, being a tri-storey development, we've had to erect a lot of stairwell voids in there, ensuring that the workers don't fall down.
Well, there's always that potential you could fall. Just got to watch where you're stepping. You got to make sure, try not to drop stuff.
What we've got in place up the top on this one is handrail, prevent the guys going over the edge, and as we get further on in it, we're going to scaffold the whole thing.
The incidence of skin cancer in Australia is among the highest in the world. Being in a workplace can be a big change from the classroom, so make sure you are protected from the harmful rays of the sun. Using sunscreen is essential in all areas of outdoor work, as is the use of appropriate head covering and clothing. And don't forget that even if you're not outside all the time, you may still need some protection.
When you're working outside on the farm, you've got to make sure you're wearing sunscreen, a good hat, have plenty of water to keep you hydrated, and if you're working outside for a long period of time, make sure you take breaks in the shade.
I protect myself from the sun by wearing hats, sunglasses and sunscreen. Sunburn's not really the best thing to have, could get skin cancer.
We have to protect ourselves in the sun. It's encouraged that both staff and children are wearing sunscreen when they go outside, and that we're also wearing wide-brimmed hats when we're outdoors.
The 5 hazards we have covered here are common, but remember, every industry is different and has its own unique hazards. Be sure to do your own research into your chosen occupation. Find out what potential hazards exist and what you and your employer can do to prevent them from harming you. This DVD contains information concerning a range of different industries and their hazards, so please be sure to review the video that applies to your situation. When you begin work, if you have any questions, speak to your manager or supervisor about the possible hazards. Finally, and most importantly, if you are unsure about any task that you are required to undertake in your workplace, don't guess. Ask for help. Employers take hazards seriously and will be happy to chat to you about safety at work.